Welcome to Who Are You, the Bobcats you know, the stories you don't. I'm your host, Joel Vanner, inside the podcast studio at Quinnipiac University School of Communications. I'm joined for today's episode by Alex Baer. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm sure you could guess by the name of the program, or if you've seen our past episodes, what my first question to you is going to be. We know your name, Alex, but tell me, who are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Alex Baer. I'm a senior at the Quinnipiac University School of Nursing. So nursing major, graduating this May. Excited, yeah.
So tell me how you first discovered nursing, healthcare-related fields, maybe something you want to study in college.
Yeah, sure. So I was looking around in high school for kind of what I wanted to do. And throughout high school, I'd been a part of my local ambulance corps junior program. That led me to become the chief of that. Did that for a little while. And then eventually got my EMT license in New York. And then looking for college with the background of having been on the ambulance for a while, I was really interested in healthcare and wanted to go into something like that.
In high school, what first got you on the ambulance? Was it a family connection, or was it just something you found an interest in?
Yeah.
What's the story there?
Yeah. So I was really put onto it by my dad, who was an EMT in college. He was an EMT firefighter up in Buffalo. Then he came back down to Long Island and stopped it for a little while. But when I was younger, he wanted to get back into it. And watching him go through that was really formative for me. It was really exciting to send him off the EMT class and have him come back and we'd talk about what he learned. So that when he joined our local ambulance corps after getting his EMT card, I joined the juniors program, eventually got my own EMT card. We did it together for a while. And that was right around when I was looking for colleges. So that was kind of what launched me into the EMS area. Yeah.
And in the juniors program, was it more of like a shadow experience? What were you doing there?
Yeah. So it was kind of like ride-alongs. So once you reached 16 years old, you could go in and help the team dispatch. So I would sit in the dispatch office and send ambulances to calls and pick up phones. And then at 17, you could start riding on the ambulance with a crew.
So that was like the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. So you had that foundation and you knew that's what you wanted to study. So fast forward to Quinnipiac. You came to campus for a visit, an unplanned visit, and there's a fun story there. So tell me a little bit about that day that you came to campus.
So my dad and I were planning college tours. As we do in our lives, everything is usually unplanned and at a whim. So we were like, hey, let's swing up to Quinnipiac and see what they're all about. With no preparation beforehand, we walked into the admissions office probably around like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They were all getting ready to go home and close up. But this one kind gentleman, Charles Sharkey, love him to this day, was hanging around and said, oh, you know what, I'll give you guys a tour. And took some time out of his day, gave us a personal tour. Turns out he was one of the gentlemen here who started the EMS corps on campus. And we got chatting about that. We were sharing our EMS experience together. This was right in the height of COVID, I think. So we were bonded over the fact that we were both at the time part of our local county teams vaccinating the public. So he was doing it here in Connecticut. I was doing it back home at New York. So we really hit it off. He was a great tour guide, sold me on the school. But I was really excited about the healthcare things that they had to offer here and by the EMS corps that had just started. So it seemed really interesting and he ended up selling me on it.
We'll get to QU EMS in a moment.
Yeah.
The nursing program, what drew you to the nursing program?
Absolutely.
And what has been your experience in that so far?
Yeah. So being on the ambulance and being a nurse in the hospital, two very different things. But when I was looking for what I wanted to study, I was really interested in the healthcare aspect, but I really liked helping people too. I really enjoyed getting to connect with people. And the more I learned about different fields, the more I learned that nursing had so many opportunities to do different things, which is something I'm really passionate about. I like being able to put my foot into all different kinds of places and try different things. So I really liked the lateral ability to move around as a nurse. So that's what kind of got me interested in the nursing specifically. And then going to visit the North Haven campus, which is where all the professional programs are, seeing their sim lab and all the physical space that they have to
got a number
teach their programs.
Like state-of-the-art facilities over there.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So the last 4 years have been absolutely incredible of being able to use those. But I'm glad I made that decision 4 years ago. Yeah.
So QU EMS. How did you get started in that organization on campus? You had the connection with Charles from your campus visit, but how did that all come to be in the beginning?
Yeah, so it was since that day when I came and visited, and Charles gave me the tour. He gave me the info. I went on their website, checked them out, filled out the form, and as soon as I got to campus, it was off to the races. So at first, I joined the auxiliary division just to get a feel for kind of what it was all about. So in that capacity, I was helping table for the organization and do some promotional stuff. I helped as a CPR instructor. We were teaching classes on campus at that time. Then in the spring, I joined as an EMT. And in the EMT capacity, we were responding to real calls on campus, real 911 medical emergencies, getting a little more integrated with the organization's leadership team. So I took on the scheduling officer, and it was away we go from there.
So there are two different divisions in QU EMS?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about those divisions.
Yeah, so the auxiliary division is meant for everybody and anyone on campus, any student that's interested either in EMS or healthcare, or just wants to be a part of something that serves the community, right? We have plenty of folks that have no interest in healthcare, business majors, political science, criminal justice, right? But it's really about service. And if you're somebody that wants to give back and be around a fun group of people to do it with, that's what we're all about. So that's what draws the auxiliary members in. Our EMT folks do have to be licensed EMTs in the state of Connecticut to serve with us. And they respond, like I said, to real medical calls. That's the primary service line of the agency. And everybody, all of our members help support that. Yeah.
How many members are in the organization?
I think we're up to about 90 members right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and so you work with public safety, any on campus, they come right to QU EMS. What's like a typical day for a member of the organization?
Yeah. So
if there is one,
it varies for everybody. We staff on an on-call basis. So if you're on shift that day, you'll be sitting in the office for your allotted period of time. And then, once you're off shift, you're back off to be a student for the day. So it's kind of this cool, Superman telephone pole, quick change, go be an EMT for your shift and then head back to class.
And in your sophomore year, you were the director of operations. So you were really in the scheduling mode. Tell me a little bit about how you got that leadership role and other roles you've had in the organization so far.
Yeah, leading into that, I was the scheduling officer spring semester of my freshman year, and then that took me into the director of operations role. I having come in with some previous EMS experience, I knew what I wanted to see in a system. And so when the opportunity arose that they, were taking applications for the next set of directors, I had some operational experience that I thought would mend well to the organization. So I applied and was enthused to accept the position. That took me off the deep end, I guess, right? We went all in, and I ended up getting the captain position and ran the agency for the last 2 years.
And it's all volunteer based, right?
All volunteers. Yep. Every student is volunteer. We all do it out of the love of our hearts.
And you mentioned earlier training and education. What are some of the training and education programs you've had for Quinnipiac students, but then also the wider community around us too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So ever since I first joined with helping out with the CPR and Stop the Bleed classes, the organization has been full force ahead. We have now established the agency as an official American Heart Association training site. And we do that in conjunction with our team over at Yale Center for EMS at the hospital. So they've been wonderful to work with. They've been super supportive of our program. We taught over 1,100 students last year.
Oh, wow.
We're on track to teach a whole bunch more this. Yep. So our programs have done really well with that as far as our community education goes. We do a lot of training internally for our own members too. It's an agency, it's a collegiate agency. So a lot of our members coming in are either new EMTs or haven't been EMTs for too long, such as myself when I first joined. So we do a lot of new member education, a lot of cool experiences to get rooted in doing a good physical exam and getting used to patient care.
It's a great place to get that experience. And then also in your nursing courses, what you're learning there, practicing it, using those skills in this experience.
A lot of transferable skills between the two. Yeah. A lot of our EMT members are health-related majors. So they are absolutely taking what they learn in class, what they learn out in the field, putting the two together. Yeah.
And how are you making the connection between your work as an EMT and then your studies in nursing? Like, what's been that connection, connecting the two pieces together like?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of skill-based connections, what you're learning in your clinicals and in your time with us at the EMS trainings. A lot of those skills and comfort pieces come together, whether it's, keeping calm in emergencies, which sounds simple, but takes a lot of practice to do, right? It's really hard to control that adrenaline rush. So being able to have extra experiences outside the classroom where we're throwing you into a 3-patient cardiac arrest. Oh my God, what are you going to do? Right. To then go back into your clinical and be able to hand that real patient in the hospital a little bit more calmly.
And you are on a number of state committees as well. You've been closely related with the Yale system here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And you've had some experiences at St. Francis through your studies in the nursing program.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the connections you have with those systems.
Yeah, it's been a huge honor to be able to get connected to so many different facets in Connecticut since I've come up here. The state committees you mentioned, the EMS system in Connecticut operates really well with a whole bunch of volunteer committees. So I've had the honor of being able to sit in on their meetings and contribute where I can a little bit to the education and training committee and then the data committee as well. The connections I've made at Yale have been based off our leadership structure here. So our agency's medical direction comes from the hospital. So we meet with their medical directors and work with their operations team to improve our system and mesh with theirs the best we can. So we go to their monthly providers meeting, meet with all the other service chiefs. It's really an honor to sit in on those and be able to see how the system integrates. And then, you mentioned the St. Francis connection. So I was lucky enough to get a capstone opportunity at St. Francis for my nursing capstone for clinical. And I did a capstone in the emergency department there and just accepted a job offer.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited.
How is the holistic approach that the School of Nursing emphasizes throughout the courses and the program in the school affected, influenced how you provide care as an EMT and where you're taking your career after Quinnipiac with St. Francis?
Absolutely. Yeah. The holistic endorsement from the School of Nursing, I really didn't notice at first. They have it so intertwined and weaved into the program that it just becomes part of you, right? So a lot of the coursework, the methodology, the way of thinking, the way you go about your assessments, where you're thinking about the whole patient, not necessarily just one disease process or one injury, right? You're thinking more broadly about preventative care and social determinants of health and all these different aspects that you might not think of when you're treating somebody initially in the moment. So as an EMT, it helps me think more broadly. As a leader in EMS, it helps me think systematically, broadly, and more holistically. So, when we set up policies in our agency, and when I help, comment on policies for statewide things, it helps us think about those more broader social determinants of health and why is this person getting service in the first place, and what can we do to support their lives and who they are as a person. Yeah.
And you are also pursuing a master's in instructional design in our School of Education.
I am.
You've mentioned some education-related things you've done with QU EMS, with state committees. It sounds like there you're learning the what, why, how, why people do things.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how your studies in that master's program are connecting with nursing, EMT, and what you're looking to do in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for mentioning that. I quick plug to the School of Education. Yeah. I was walking around during the admitted students tabling session where all the schools had their tables out. At the time, I had just gotten my EMS instructor cert in Connecticut, so I was really getting into the EMS education side of things. And I stopped by the School of Education to see just what kind of programs they had, and I saw this really interesting instructional design and technology program where they really taught all about how to design for how people learn. And that was really interesting to me because at the time I was trying to develop some programs for our EMS group, how to better improve our own internal education and training. And that program really seemed it would work synonymously with my healthcare interests of healthcare education. So that has helped in the undergrad level now even so I started taking those courses last fall in tandem with the nursing courses as like a 4+1 kind of thing. So starting to get that view of how people learn, how to teach for, how people learn has really helped, I guess, the like base responsibilities of a nurse, right? Have a lot to do with education, right? Whether you're teaching your patients how to take discharge instructions or helping develop a system of, how to disseminate information to a community, having that new level of knowledge has really helped with my like systems level thinking. So I'm really excited to finish out that degree and see where it takes me. Yeah. And
in that too, with EMS, QU EMS being a fully volunteer organization, the way that the program structured, the educational offerings are structured, and communicating those to your members who are all volunteers, right?
Yeah.
So if students are interested in getting involved with QU EMS, how should they reach out to you?
They can head to our website at quems.org, where we have all sorts of cool information about the agency, all about our training site and the education we provide, our new Simbulance donated by Hartford Healthcare, and all of our fully stocked equipment in there. Plenty of cool things to check out, and reach out to us with our contact form. Yeah.
Awesome, Alex. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. I enjoyed hearing about your journey to Quinnipiac, all the work you're doing on campus with QU EMS, and congratulations on your upcoming role with St. Francis.
Thanks so much, Joel. Glad to be on.
If you like today's episode of Who Are You, be sure to like and share, and find other episodes of Who Are You on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube Podcasts, or wherever else you find your favorite podcasts. Until next time, when I ask my next guest, who are you? I'm Joel Vanner. Bye for now.